yeah, if you do want to enjoy us, this is open registration for everyone. With that being said, we're about to go green for round 2 at Sebring of the TVZ A6 Cup. As we go green, Duncan jumps the start a little bit. I feel like we got to give a penalty out to him for jumping way too many spots at the beginning of the race. But with that, everyone had a decent launch besides Harris. Harris is absolutely causing chaos. We got 4 wide heading into turn 1. That is absolutely dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. We definitely don't want to deal with that. We got Sunken going side by side with Dark Moon. Sunken's absolutely taking out everyone. Snowland's passing KSAP. Nope. Just about passes KSAP, but Andrew misses a checkpoint. That's why we see ghosting all the way to the back of the pack. ASAP stays in 8th place as we go up to... We're going to catch up to... We're going to go to Snowland's POV for a hot second, actually. Let me turn off the audio for this. Snowland is on the back of ASAP Gamer. I think Snowland didn't really had the best of starts, in my opinion, when it comes to the beginning of this race, but we'll have to see over time. We know how Snowland's pace is. I probably should get the audio on. Got Sunken up in 7th, hitting the curb actually a little bit ahead. ASAP defending well into that corner to prevent Snowland from passing actually. We'll have to see if, you know, everyone's going to really put on a defense shape against Snowland as these laps progress. But like I said, it's an endurance race, so we have some time. I have noticed actually, Death Puff went all the way up to 2nd place as Stray falls back to 3rd place. We got Racer Dan in 4th place, actually trying to battle for Stray against Stray right now, and he dives up on the inside. He does recognize there was a bit of a sloppy move, so he does back off from that and waits to line up another attempt against Stray for 3rd place. Wow, don't I have Dark Moon's POV? No, I don't. That sucks. I'm going to go to Atomic, actually, for a second. Sorry about that. Matrix is all the way out in the lead. He's actually, you know, going a bit away from the pack. I'm not going to lie about that. He's actually traveling a bit of distance away. But Snowland actually has made up places, and he is actually putting on a charge. He's actually passing Sunken for 7th place. Currently on the back of Atomic. Let's see if Sunken's going to do any hardcore lunging on the inside of a line. We have to see. Is there going to be anything? Nope. Sunken didn't take the opportunity to do any risky passes on Snowland. But yeah, we got Snowland up into 7th place already on lap 3 after starting from the back of the pack. We do see a bit of fighting going on in front. Yeah, I don't know what the heck he said. But yeah, we do have Atomic getting pressured by Snowland right now. I think Snowland might make the attempt to pass pretty soon, as we also see Dan the Man and Darkmoon a bit of the following each other pretty closely. Yeah, Snowland goes on the inside heading into this next corner. Will he make the move stick, or will Atomic defend? Atomic defends the line, sweeps on the outside of Snowland. So to be fair, I will admit Snowland is also experimenting with different passing opportunities. You know, that's the one thing he said he wanted to work on. Atomic goes a bit wide out of the corner, trying to defend against Snowland. We have a 3-wide battle going on. Matrix, what happened to Matrix? I missed that. What the heck? Oh gosh. I'm missing everything. Oh no. Matrix's POV. Atomic, sorry, yours is not working, brother dog. What happened to Matrix? He fell down the order. He's down in the 9th, bro. What happened? Something happened to Matrix. Either he missed a checkpoint or something like that. But we have a 5-way fight for 1st place now, with Death Puff being in the lead. As we go into the final couple corners with Dark Moon, Stray, Dan the Man, and Snowland. Snowland might have a gray exit out of this corner, actually, heading to the start finish straight. We're going 3 wide down the start finish straight, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see what happens at turn 1, but we got Dark Moon and Dan the Man going side by side. Dark Moon getting a little bit of the drafting off of Stray as they head into the 1st corner. Watch out for the inside wall, guys. Yeah, that had to be a checkpoint, right? And you're completely right. But we do have a bit of a fight going on for 1st place, considering Matrix fell down the order. We'll have to find out what happened at that. Atomic trying to make a move on Snowland. That's actually surprising to see. but Snowland giving a bit of a bump as we go almost three wide for the lead of the race. Let's go switch to Stray's POV. We got a bit of a battle going on right now between Darkmoon, Stray, and Death Puff. Stray dives on the inside of these two and passes both of them for the lead, but Darkmoon goes for the switchback and goes back into the lead. This is absolute carnage right now, ladies and gentlemen. We got Death Puff going back into second place. Dan the Man still holding off Snowland, but also trying to make the pass for third place. While Snowland has an absolute great vantage point from this. Stray goes a bit wide as Dan the Man goes up to third place. Wow, this is really good racing from everyone so far. Kudos to each and every person that's been doing, racing so far. We're only 4 laps into this 30-lap race, though. So, we'll have to see how this develops. But I'm going to keep an eye on this battle up in front right now between Death Puff, Darkmoon, Dan the Man, Snowland, and Stray. Stray's been in there. But Darkmoon currently in first place after a wild start from Matrix, who fell down the order significantly. Must have missed a checkpoint. I was not able to capture it. Dan the Man going down the inside line of Death Puff, but Snowland says, hey, I'm over here too, guys, and tries to go through the pair of them 3 wide down the back main straightaway, heading to the last corner of the track. Snowland putting on the clinic right now against these other people right now, but hey, he's a veteran of racing, so who know, that's how it is. As he goes up into second place, heading into lap 5, to see how fast he can catch up to Darkmoon. But what a battle between these people. We also got a bit of a battle right now between ASAP and Matrix. But also, I'm going to keep an eye on this battle too, in front with Dan the Man and Death Puff going side by side. I think I have Death Puff's POV, but I'm not going to switch right now, considering we have good vantage points with this. Let's see, can Darkmoon hold off Snowland? Sorry, there you go. Still have a 4-way battle, a 5-way battle actually for first right now, because if anyone makes a mistake and someone bumps into each other, people can capitalize on people's mistakes. Yeah, that's the thing, Raiden. It's very clean racing so far. Do I have Death Puff's POV? I do, actually. Let's see if I can stick it on here real quick. Boom. Now the POV in the front, ladies and gentlemen. We're cooking with this. We're going to keep up with this as Dan the Man falls a little bit behind Death Puff. So let's see if Death Puff can cause any pressure against Snowland and Darkmoon. But we'll have to see. Is Darkmoon going to heavily defend against Snowland as Death Puff goes a little wide out of that corner and loses that momentum? And you can see Darkmoon and Snowland pulling ahead. Will that bring Dan the Man and Stray back into the mix? And is there going to be a bit of a fight for third place while we got Darkmoon and Snowland battling it out? But it looks like Snowland's about to go for the move for first place against Darkmoon. Let's see if Darkmoon's going to heavily defend this or not. Doesn't look like it. Snowland goes through from the back of the pack to first place in only 4 racing laps, ladies and gentlemen. Comes to show how impressive Snowland is. But can Darkmoon go side by side with Snowland heading into the final corner of this track? We'll have to see as they closely get to the end of the straightaway. Darkmoon goes on the inside line, but I think Snowland has a better momentum out of the corner. We'll see. No, he's still there in the back right tire of Snowland, but yep, there he goes. Snowland had the better momentum out of that corner on the start finish tray to get first place. We're actually going to take a look over here real quick at Stray, because we do still have a battle going on for third place. Wonder if Darkmoon's going to still try to put pressure on Snowland, or is Snowland going to drive away from everyone else like he did in Talladega? But Death Puff made a bit of a mistake. He hit the curbs. The curbs around here are a bit brutal, in my opinion. But we'll have to see as this race progresses. We have Dan trying to go on the inside line of Death Puff. There's so many battles going on in the whole entire field. It comes to show how competitive this field is. Death Puff with a bit of aggressive defense against Racer Dan as Stray hits Dan out wide. I think that was an accidental bump. Stray does say sorry, and he doesn't really give the position back to Dan. Yeah, he does. There we go. Good. And coming from the back behind these guys, that's a wild statement for me. Matrix goes up into 5th position saying, hey guys, I'm back. I'm ready to do some racing against everyone here. So we got Matrix battling it out. I'm actually going to switch to Matrix's POV real quick for a second. As he passes straight for 5th place, we know Matrix has the good pace around here to go against everyone. So is Matrix going to try to go from a back to front run like Snowland did? We'll have to see as we continue on with this round 2 of the TVZ 86 Cup here at Sebring International Raceway. We've been seeing amazing battles so far between, Death Pop, Dark Moon, Dan the Man, Stray, Matrix, Snowland. Snowland's been getting into the mix as well. Stray did give Matrix a bit of a bump out there. Yeah, Matrix is definitely throwing hands to get this podium back. But hey, with all this battling, it can definitely bring in people like ASAP, like Andrew. Atomic, I think Atomic fell down the order a bit, unfortunately. You hate to see it, ladies and gentlemen. But it does happen after the chaos of the first opening few laps of a race. As Matrix taps the wall, would that give Stray an opportunity to pass? Yep. With the momentum that Stray had out of that final corner, he passes Matrix up into 5th place. All right, I think we can finally start winding down a little bit from the chaos of the first couple laps. Snowland's out in front, starting to gap Dark Moon, who's in 2nd place. We got Death Puff in 3rd, Racer Dan on 4th, Stray in 5th, Matrix in 6th. We got ASAP Gamer slowly catching up to Matrix in this pack. Let's see if ASAP Gamer can do anything about it to join this fight. Well, he's in 7th, then we got Andrew in 8th, Sunken in 9th after Sunken absolutely jumping the star at the beginning of this. Probably will get a penalty for it. Atomic in 10th. As Stray goes a bit wide of that corner, bumps Matrix. Matrix goes up into 5th place after capitalizing on Stray's mistake out of that hairpin corner. Got some Horizon quick chats going on, apologizing and all this stuff. You'd love to see the sportsmanship around here. We do have a lot of good sportsmanship here in the Boyz Racing and Motorsports. But yeah, I'm going to start calming down from this a little bit. It does look like Racer Dan did make a bit of a mistake. A little bit of a twitch from that car. Let's see if Matrix can capitalize on Dan's slow momentum that he got out of that corner. As Matrix goes up into 4th place. Beautiful driving by Matrix so far. Staying consistent, clean, trying to not play too aggressive like Sunken did at the first lap. But we'll have to see. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, this is an open registration, so anyone can join this racing series. It's free for any skill levels. If you're willing to get into competitive racing, semi-competitive racing, I highly recommend this series. You've got amazing drivers with a variety of different skill levels racing. Here today, you've got Snowland, the veteran of racing, and then you got, some of the newer people like, ASAP and ASAP. ASAP's been getting back into competitive racing after he only did one stint in the GT Racing Series Season 2. But it looks like Dan the Man might be trying to make a pass on Stray over here. We're going to keep an eye on the bottom left over here for a good second. We'll have to see how this battle progresses, but now we're going to start seeing... thank you, Raiden. We're going to start seeing people's actual pace as we churn through these laps. We're only 8 laps into this 29-lap race. Matrix is flipping through cameras. We got Dan on the... Oh, Dan makes an amazing dive bomb on the inside of Stray to get into 5th place. Amazing move by Dan there. I absolutely saw that on the bottom left of my screen. That was amazing. But we're going to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on this battle going on for 5th place. Dan, after making a bit of mistakes, trying to claw back, but he also goes wide out of that corner.
All right.
That, yeah, I know, right?
To get him back.
That corner does, take some precision driving, considering it's a lot more tighter of a corner than people actually expect it to be on the first try. I'm not sure how much practice Racer Dan put into this. I'm not precisely sure. With that being said, we're going to switch some POVs around. We're going to go back to ASAP's POV. We're going to take out Snowland's POV for a hot minute. Actually, real quick. Oh no, Stray misses a checkpoint. No. Stray goes all the way back to 8th place? Yep, 8th position. Oh no. That sucks. Stray was doing such a great job though, putting pressure on Dan to try to get Dan not to pass him, and then Stray misses a checkpoint. That's very unfortunate. With that being said, I'm just going to take a quick look around lap times. So we're going to start off with Snowland with a I can't even read that, brother dog. A 201 flat, 201.050. 2 seconds off this qualifying time, mind you, by the way. I think I think I've got Dark Moon's POV somewhere, right? No, please tell me. No, I don't. Damn. I don't know Dark Moon's lap time. Death Puff's in third with a 202.566. Not bad, not bad. As he's starting to get a little bit of pressure from Matrix, as we got a side-by-side battle between Sunken and Stray. Sunken heavily defending that inside line with a beautiful switchback, mind you, to go back into 7th place against Stray. Stray's trying to claw back positions or try to get past Sunken so he can try to catch up to the pack. But we'll have to definitely keep an eye on Stray as this race progresses. But Death Puff with a 202.566, we got a 202.540, very close lap times between Death Puff and Matrix. I don't have Racer Dan's POV. I don't have Andrew's POV. Sunken's POV. I really. Oh no! Stolen missed. See, that's why I told you guys. When people really get too comfortable with their racing, sometimes you just kind of doze off based on the track or based on the driver, and you do end up missing checkpoints, like Stolen just did, promoting Dark Moon back into first position. Oh no! This just got a lot more tastier. But with that being said, yeah, Snowland and Darkman have a bit of a gap against Death Puff and Matrix. So we're just going to keep an eye on this battle between Matrix and Death Puff right now for a third place, the last place on the podium positioning. But we'll have to see what happens. Definitely we'll have to see. It's somewhat like equal gap between Darkmoon, Snowland, and Death Puff. I know Snowland's probably going to put the pedal to the metal and start really catching up to Darkmoon, putting the pressure. But will Darkmoon also back up Snowland so Snowland can back up into Death Puff and Matrix to make it a four-way fight for first place positioning? We'll have to see. I'm going to let this play out for a little bit, but yeah, this has been an amazing race so far, considering we're only 10 laps into the 30-lap race. Already 20 minutes into this event, as Death Puff goes a bit wide out of that corner exit, doesn't get the better momentum. Will Matrix try to make an attempt of a pass heading into this corner? It's a bit tricky of a corner because it's a lot more tighter than people expect when it comes to this corner design, but nope. And it does get a better exit out of that corner. Let's see, we're going to go a little bit side-by-side battling, heading into this next section of the track. Nope, Death Puff, great momentum out of that corner, preventing Matrix from really doing anything out of that corner. I feel like Stray and Sunken are battling. Are they battling? Yep. Stray's right on the back of Sunken. These guys are battling it out for 7th place on the grid right now. It's wild seeing Sunken with a Gran Turismo logo in Horizon, just saying, oh my gosh, Stray, that was way too close for comfort. Almost missing that checkpoint by going on that curb. Way too close for comfort, Stray. Careful. We actually might be seeing a pass pretty soon for first place when it comes to Snowland against Darkmoon. Matrix actually probably made a mistake in that final section because Death Puff actually gained a gap on Matrix, as we're actually going to go up to this battle going on right now. Darkman, I think, hit the wall a tiny bit, but still maintaining composure considering Snowland is catching up. And I think Snowland actually got into the twos. Yeah, he 2-minute flat 0.502, so he definitely has a pace there as he's right on the back of Darkmoon, heading over this straightaway, heading over to the hairpin corner. We'll have to see what happens. Is he going to go for it? I think Snowland might. Dive bomb into this corner. Yep, goes on the inside, dives on the inside. But as you can see, nope, Darkmoon didn't have the momentum out of that corner to do anything about it. He does have a bit of momentum right here, though. You can see on the bottom right. He's slowly inching ahead, but he might be doing a pass. Nope. He does bump Snowland a little bit heading into that corner. Oh, okay. Darkmoon go side by side after bumping Snolan a little bit from that corner. I'm actually going to get rid of this audio for a second and go back onto here. We'll have to see. Dark Moon, a little bit of a bump and run from Dark Moon, but rubbing is racing, as they all say. Got a bit of a battle going on for first place. Will Snolan make this easy, or is he going to really have to work for it, you know? I know back in the GT Series Season 3 in the championship race, me and Tammy had a great fight because of the defense work I did against it. And it looks like Darkmoon's going to do the same with the defense work against Snolan. Darkmoon showing actually some heavy promise when it comes to the racecraft that Darkmoon has against Snolan. But it looks like Snolan has a better line or better momentum from that straightaway heading to the final couple corners. It looks like Darkmoon has officially lost first place against Snolan, but Snolan does know Darkmoon's a very, very huge threat. But we'll have to see if Snolan's just going to fly away from Darkmoon, or is Darkmoon going to try to catch up, but considering how Snolan has a 2-minute flat .502 for a lap time, I don't think we're going to see Darkmoon try to catch up to Snolan. Snolan is a very, very fast racer. Like I said, he won Season 2 and Season 3 of the GT Racing Series that we have in the Boyz Racing and Motorsports. And so far, I think he's in contention to actually be a dominant force in the TBZ A6 Cup for this series. We'll have to see. As we actually head back to third place with Death Puff and Matrix both battling it out again for third place. We'll have to see how this battle escalates. Death Puff, a little weary out of that corner, makes Matrix, goes on the inside line and try to pass it, heading side by side into this corner. Not a good idea, guys. But Matrix pulls ahead of Death Puff. Death Puff drops down to fourth. I will also admit, though, while this is happening, we do see Racer Dan slowly catching up to the pair right now. If you guys look on the bottom left map, we do have Racer Dan slowly catching up to Death Puff and Matrix. So I wonder if this is going to be a three-way fight for a last podium positioning spot here at Sebring International Raceway for race 2 of the TBZ A6 Cup. We'll have to see, but it looks like Matrix does have the pace advantage over Matrix, so we're gonna have to see. I know Darkmoon's slowly catching up to Snowland, I think. I know the draft is heavily powerful when it comes to these cars, considering they're so light and nimble and they have the Forza arrow on. We're definitely gonna have to see as time progresses, but we're about to reach halfway through this race already. I feel like this race has been already flying on by. We're just gonna stick on to Death Puff's. Ooh, that was close. Death Puff's POV as he's gonna try to chase down Matrix for third place, but Racer Dan slowly catching up to these guys. I've noticed him on the map a little bit. Everyone has spread out a little bit ways as we start really getting into the part of race pace, the endurance part of this, where people would try to do consistent laps and see if they can try to get faster over time without pushing themselves too hard, where they're getting really fatigued by the end of the race. And considering how Death Puff is starting to make a few mistakes, I wonder if the fatigue is really getting to him, considering how many mistakes he's been doing, as of recently. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It happens in racing. Only the skillful drivers really can adapt to fatigue and the endurance of these long races. We'll have to see, but Racer Dan is right on the back of Death Puff as Matrix pulls away from Death Puff to secure a third place position. But we'll have to see. Is there going to be a bit of a battle between Death Puff and Racer Dan? And even so, if these guys start battling, or if they can start working together somehow to catch up to Matrix, we'll have to see what happens. I don't recall if there are teams on this, but you never know. Between drivers, they can work together to try to catch up to these people, to the person ahead of them, to get more points in this championships series. As we see Dan trying to make a move, but Death Puff heavily aggressive with that defense. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's only so much you can do for defense before it starts getting a bit of controversial. But oh geez, okay, Death Puff. Death Puff absolutely, hitting Dan, but I think he did honk him a little bit, acknowledging his aggressive defense against Racer Dan as these guys are battling it out for fourth place. I think went a little wide there. Yeah, it looks like he went a little wide. I wonder if Death Puff is trying to like go all over the place with these lines, trying to force Racer Dan into a mistake of some sort so he can stop applying the pressure on him. But it looks like Dan does have the pace against Death Puff right now as we head onto the straightaway, heading towards a hairpin corner, going side by side. How's this gonna work? Is Dan gonna go break early? Who's gonna break later? Looks like these guys braked at the exact same time. Dan did hit a bit of the curb though. Death Puff with the switchback after Dan losing that momentum out of that corner. Great move by Death Puff, reading that really really well against Racer Dan, recognizing that Dan's gonna have a inside line, a sharper inside line. As these, I think both of them went a little wide out of that corner, but reading that really well to get that switchback on Racer Dan. Death Puff's doing a great job with his defense work and really trying to prevent Racer Dan from passing him to go up into fourth place. I think this is Death Puff's first event I've seen him race in a hot minute, and considering it is his first event he's done, he's doing a heck of a good job, in my opinion, at least. But we'll have to see as this race progresses. We're about to reach the halfway stage of race 2 here at Sebring International Raceway. My name's Alan Endepe. If you're just joining us, this is a racing series called the TBZ A6 Cup, presented by the Boyz Racing and Motorsports. The Boyz Racing and Motorsports hosts a plethora of different racing series, such as this TBZ A6 Cup, and we got the Pro Stock Cup series happening tomorrow as well. That is hosted by Dan B. the Man 106, who's in fifth place right now. That I will actually be participating as well. We also do host events like the GT Racing Series. We also got some exhibitional like events that we do every Wednesday and Thursday night, hosted by TBZ Frostbite, the head of the Boyz Racing and Motorsports. Known him for a while. He's a absolutely wonderful person to chat with and hang around. He's a fun person to be with, hanging around. But yeah, he's greenlit the Pro Stock Cup series. He greenlit the TBZ A6 Cup series. And as you can see, we've been seeing some really competitive racing so far in the TBZ A6 Cup series against many of these different skilled drivers. Oh, little slide into that corner, Death Puff. Be careful. We do see Andrew slowly catching up to this duo right now. If you look on the bottom left map right now, I've noticed Andrew's icon slowly catching up to Racer Dan and Death Puff as Death Puff makes an aggressive defense against Racer Dan. Racer Dan, wonder how his composure is going to be right now, considering Death Puff has been making these aggressive defenses against Dan the Man. I mean, it is racing, so it depends on the driver what they do. But with the amount of defense someone can do against someone, the person that's following, instead of defending, they can either start losing patience and start making mistakes to, lose the gap against the person in front of them, or they can play strategically where they can predict the person's defenses and then try to pass them at a tactful time, or a strategic time. That's what I meant. Sorry about that. And we'll have to see how this escalates between Death Puff and Racer Dan. It does look like also Matrix is slowly catching up on Dark Moon. I wonder if Dark Moon's starting to lose pace because of the endurance aspect. As we see Death Puff going a little bit wide of that corner, I wonder if Dan had the better line out of that corner. It looks like he did, because he's starting to slowly catch up to Death Puff and try to go for a little bit of a cheeky little inside line, little trick against Death Puff to try to make him lose his line heading into turn 1, but it didn't work. Very intriguing to see the strategic play these two are actually putting on. I wish I had Racer Dan's POV, but unfortunately he's not streaming this. But we'll have to see as this progresses. I wonder, do I have Andrew's POV? Well, let's find out. No, I do not, unfortunately. That sucks. That really does. Oh well. It would have been nice to see Andrew's POV as we see Dan the Man trying to sense any sort of weakness against Death Puff, but Death Puff defending like a lion. Call him Fernando Alonso at this point with how much he's really defending his lines. Ooh, barely made that checkpoint. Yeah, Death Puff. I agree with you that, bud. Oh my god, side by side. Easy, boys. Don't do too anything ambitious. But we got a great battle right now between Death Puff and Dan the Man, with Andrew slowly clawing his way back up to try to catch these two. These guys are really losing time against, you know, against Matrix and Dark Moon. Oh, did Matrix miss another checkpoint? Matrix missed another checkpoint. Oh my gosh. That's two possible missed checkpoints from Matrix as Dan the Man tries to go the inside line heading to that corner, but doesn't succeed with it. What up, Matrix? What happened to you? Oh, okay. I don't know what the heck happened with Matrix right there, but I wonder if his controller died or is he just slow on purpose? I'm not sure what the heck happened there, ladies and gentlemen. But I guess we have a three-way battle for third now, a podium positioning. We'll have to see what happens as this progresses, but I'm actually going to hop onto Matrix's POV to see what kind of battling we got going on right now. If this guy's literally clip farming for, you know, for a race recap, then fair enough. As Dan goes on the inside line of Death Puff heading to that corner, little argy-bargy going on right now between these two, with Matrix being in the middle of this as Matrix passes Racer Dan for fourth place. As actually Andrew caught up to these people now, considering Racer Dan lost all that momentum out of that corner. We might have a four-way battle going on right now, ladies and gentlemen, for third place right now, as Matrix makes a move on Death Puff. Death Puff's trying to nudge him out of the way. That's not going to work, guys. Come on. We'll have to see how this battle goes, but goes on the inside line. Matrix, nope. Death Puff holds the outside line, getting that momentum out of that corner, preventing Matrix from going up into third place. We know how Death Puff is aggressive with his defense, so we'll have to see how much Death Puff can do against Matrix, considering Matrix does have the faster pace with a 201.622 compared to, where is it? What's Death Puff on pace? 202.566, so almost a second faster than Death Puff right now, as Matrix hits Death Puff out wide. But we do see Racer Dan and Andrew catching up to these pairs, so we're gonna have a four-way battle for third place as we head to the latter half stages of race 2 here at Sebring International Raceway. Matrix gonna go on the inside line of Death Puff, defending that beautifully as well. It does say sorry though. I think that was a bit of aggressive defense from Matrix. Oh gosh, hold on, I gotta switch this back. As we see a bit of a side-by-side moment between Death Puff and Dan the Man, but Death Puff is slowly catching up to Matrix and dives on the inside of Matrix. Wow, what a move into the turn 1. A great move by Death Puff, I will admit. It's like Max Verstappen levels of aggression right there. But an absolute fantastic move by Death Puff to get back into third place, taking that away from Matrix. As we also see, you know, on the map, Racer Dan and Andrew catching up to these two, so we'll have to see if these two can battle it out heading into the hairpin. We're going to start losing a lot of time, so Racer Dan and Andrew can catch up to these two and probably make it a 4-car battle. As oh god, we have 3. Oh, that was way too close. Dan the Man sweeps on the inside of Death Puff actually and goes up to 4th place. Can Dan the Man make an aggressive move down on the inside of Matrix to try to get into 3rd place? We'll have to see as we get into this corner. But no, I don't think Dan wasn't gonna risk that, considering that corner wasn't a good place to make overtakes. We'll have to see. I'm actually gonna go back to Death Puff's POV real quick, as we see Dan on all over the back of Matrix trying to get up into 3rd place. Dan's been putting on a great show for us actually. Shout out to Racer Dan, who's a great driver. I've raced with him many times. in the Pro Stock Cup Series, and he's actually one hell of a driver. I'm not gonna lie, very clean as well. No, Dan missed it. No, as soon as I was talking how good he is, he misses the checkpoint. Oh my gosh, no, that's so unfortunate. Oh my gosh, no. Damn, they were having a great battle too. No, did Dan rage quit? Oh my gosh, bro. No, Dan, why, buddy? Why? I'm gonna put an F in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Matrix, you're not that guy, bro. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm actually gonna take a look or look through the field real quick with everyone's time. So Snowman's at a 2 minute point 269. He's improved with his lap time. Okay, Matrix. Oh, Andrew, when did you show up? Andrew's battling Death Puff and Matrix right now. Hold on a second. But yeah, we get it's so unfortunate from Dan to miss that checkpoint. It is sucks to see him leave the race, but you know, it is what it is sometimes, you know. Decided that he didn't want to be a part of the race anymore. He got disconnected, who knows at this point. I'm gonna go look through the field real quick. So we don't know what Dark Moon. Alright, Matrix, bro. I'm literally about to go into the voice chat and tell him to stop doing it, bro. Bro, Matrix, stop slowing down. You're not that guy. Oh, he's not even in the chat, bro. I left. This dude. Alright, so we got Matrix with a 201.622. He's been keeping up with his pace. We got Death Puff with a 202.566. I'm going down to ASAP Gamer. He's at a 2.3.260. I'm going down to Stray. Who's at 201.7. Oh, Stray must have made so many mistakes throughout this race. He's all the way down here, but still with a heck of a time. I mean, yeah, you can see how he's already making the mistakes going wide on some corners. I'm going to check in with Thunken's POV if it's still up. Oh, wow, Andrew goes on the inside of these guys. Oh, yeah, I'm not putting that. Sunken, geez. 203.9 by Sunken. I'm going to get rid of his POV. As we're actually getting another battle between Matrix and Andrew heading into the first corner. Andrew holding the outside line. You know, making that move stick into the first corner. We'll have to see. It's going to be a three-way battle with 10 laps to go for round 2 at Sebring International Raceway. Death Pup a little argy-bargy against Matrix. You know, maybe trying to make him to go onto the grass and lose traction. Heading down towards the straightaway, heading towards the hairpin corner. But we'll have to see. If you are enjoying what you're seeing, you know, it's an open registration racing series. Everyone has a similar car. As Death Puff passes 2 people heading into 3rd place. Great move by Death Puff. Been seeing a lot of great moves by Death Puff throughout this whole race. I'm not gonna lie about that. But we got... Yeah, if you guys are interested in joining the series, I will be posting a link in chat real quick. Open registration. Each car is similarly, it's built the same way, but you can also, it's an open tuning build, so you can tune it however you want based on your driving style. Or if you don't know how to tune, we do have a basic setup that everyone can use that is very equal when it comes to cornering and speed on every single track. I highly recommend it. I've tried it out a few times. It's really well. It's really well tuned for what it is. But yeah, it's if you're also looking to get into some semi-competitive racing, this is probably the perfect place to start out. We have we have the Pro Stock Cup Series, like I mentioned earlier. I will be participating in the Pro Stock Cup Series and the series race tomorrow. We'll be at 3 Forest Raceway. That's gonna be a fun race. Oh, did Andrew clip the wall? I think Andrew clipped the wall. Yeah, it's a fun racing series. Matrix is taunting Death Puff right now. That's kind of base, not gonna lie. as we go with 9 laps remaining in this race. We'll have to see if there's going to be any huge fights going on for third place, but we'll have to see when Matrix is going to decide to really put the pedal to the metal and try to pass Death Puff for third place. I think we do have a bit of a battle forming with between Stray and ASAP Gamer. I wonder if ASAP made a mistake actually. Yeah, Stray's slowly catching up. Wow, very close to that wall in the corner one, turn one. Slowly catching up to ASAP Gamer. Stray slowly catching up. We know how fast Stray is, and I think Stray's also been making mistakes from time to time, so that's why he's all the way in 7th place after starting, up in front. But we'll have to see what happens between these two as these laps count down as we're reaching the latter half of race 2 right now. So far, a little contempt right now. I think we're going to start really winding into these battles as these laps churn down. Great performance by Snowland after starting from the back. Deathpoke goes wide out of that corner, making Matrix catch up to him. A little bit of a bump for Matrix. We'll have to see what happens as we progress through these laps. But yeah, Snowland, great racing from Snowland so far. Absolutely putting on a clinic against everyone else. Dark Moon actually doing a great job. I've never really seen Dark Moon's racecraft before, but considering how he was defending on Snowland in those earlier laps, I think Dark Moon is a force to be reckoned with. I'm not gonna lie. Then we get Death Puff in third. Death Puff with his aggressive defense against Matrix and Dan the Man and all that stuff. A great job from Death Puff so far. Matrix, after missing a few checkpoints, not gonna lie, slowing down with everyone. Probably trying to get himself involved in these battles. We'll have to see. Andrew's also been slowly creeping up there as well after he was a bit behind the top 3 for a while, but he's been slowly crawling back to make it a bit of a challenge to try to get a podium position at near the end of this race. ASAP's been there as actually Stray's catching really fast against ASAP. I'm actually going to keep an eye on this battle right now. ASAP's been consistent in 6th. Stray unfortunately had a very early missed checkpoint. It looks like he's been making a few mistakes here and there as well, so that's why he's down to 7th, sunken in 8th. After jump starting the start of this race, Atomic in 9th, KSAP Gamer in 10th. Considering, everyone's still far apart with each other, I will give everyone a credit because we've been 46 minutes into this race. And everyone's still trying to push hard as Stray, is he going down the inside? Wow, what a move. But ASAP says no you and absolutely defends 6th place. 6th place against Stray. Stray beating himself up for that because he wasn't able to make the move stick. Can I actually go on? No, ASAP is right there actually, yeah. I'm going to keep an eye on this actually. Sorry, Snowland, I'm going to get rid of your POE for a second, bro. Got a bit of a chaotic battle going on right now. We got Matrix behind Andrew, but Matrix is slowly catching up with that slipstream he's getting from Death Puff. Got a bit of an argy-bargy fight right now between Stray and ASAP. We'll have to see how this goes. Stray likes his internal camera on the car, but he's also using third person when needed. As he misses another checkpoint. Oh no. Oh, dang. Stray with the consistent checkpoint misses today. He's quick, but he's inconsistent. You hate to see it, ladies and gentlemen. He's absolutely fuming with himself. Unfortunate from Stray. Unfortunate. We're going to head back to the battle up front between Matrix, Death Puff, and Andrew. We can see these guys are going to be tossing, going to be switching positions back and forward all the way till the end of this race. Very unfortunate from Stray. He was slowly catching up to ASAP, but misses that checkpoint. As we're heading into the hairpin corner, Matrix and Andrew side by side. Andrew defending that line into that corner beautifully, actually. Great defense from Andrew against Matrix. Death Puff is slowly getting away from these two while these guys battling it out. That's the thing about these cars. You need the momentum around this track just to keep up with the person ahead of you. But if you start battling against other racers, you're gonna start losing that time as Andrew goes wide and Matrix sweeps on in to go into 4th place. Great move by him. Good job by Matrix right there. But yeah, I'm gonna let this play out for a little bit. So enjoy the nice crisp sounds of the Toyota A6 Cup. And he misses it. No. Oh my god, Matrix misses that checkpoint and goes all the way back to 5th place, far behind these guys. Oh no, I wonder how much Matrix is gonna fully push now, considering he missed that checkpoint. Let's find out as we churn down these laps. Death Pup has a bit of a gap against Andrew, so Death Pup I think is in clear air right now, clean sailing to try to lock in a 3rd place position. But we're gonna keep an eye on everyone else right now, as everyone did, you know, go a bit apart from each other. We have some space between everyone now as we reach the latter half of this of race 2 here at Sebring International Raceway for the TBZ A6 Cup. Everyone's been really putting on a great performance today. We've seen really close battles between everyone, between Snowland and Dark Moon, Death Puff, Racer Dan, Andrew, Matrix, all of them. You have some unfortunate people that, you know, that have been missing checkpoints like Stray, you know, Matrix missed a few as you clearly saw a second ago. But we know Matrix is quick, so I wonder if he's going to try to catch up to Andrew and Death Puff before the end of this race to try to get a podium positioning. We'll have to see, because every point matters at this point. You know, the bars. So we'll have to see as this race winds down what's going to happen. But with that being said, I'm going to let this audio play out as we watch Matrix catch up to Andrew and Death Puff within these last couple laps, and I'll be right back. You can really tell how much a driver is pushing based on the car's, like, you know, how much the car is really rolling and coasting through these corners. Matrix is absolutely sending this Toyota GR86 car right now just to try to catch up to Death Puff and Andrew for the last 5 laps of this race. I did also see though while I was taking a bit of a water break, I think Stray is right next to ASAP right now. Boom, perfect timing. ASAP's gonna Stray's gonna try to go for an attempt to try to pass ASAP Gamer. Makes the checkpoint this time. A little bump though against ASAP and Stray as Stray makes it up to sixth place. Great move by Stray. Now, question is, ASAP, he's gonna go side by side. Is he gonna make it a move? Make it a move. I went Italian. Is he gonna make a move on this last corner? That we'll have to see. ASAP does look like he has a better momentum down this back straightaway as we head into the last corner. ASAP goes out wide just to get the sweep in on the inside and, you know, gains a position back on Stray. Looks like ASAP actually has the better straight line speed than Stray, but I think Stray might have the cornering, but he does have the slipstream against ASAP. Try to go side by side to the first corner. A bit risky from Stray, but at least I respect the commitment from him. As we're going to watch this battle progress, as we also see Matrix slowly catching up to Death Puff and Andrew on the map, bottom left of your screen, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to see though. But we got Stray versus ASAP for 6th place right now. ASAP knows he's going to be put up a lot of pressure against Stray right now. ASAP, a little twitch into that hairpin corner. Also, he's lagging a little bit. Jeez, that was a huge lag spike from ASAP. It looks like we're okay there. Stray, let's see what he's going to try to do to make a move on ASAP right now for 6th place. He's only got 4 laps to do it. We'll see. We're going to watch this battle very closely as we also see Andrew and Death Puff very close with each other, but I don't have a POV from them. I think so.
God damn.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a Death Puff. Oh, wait, no, I do have, yeah, Death Puff. POV.
Fuck.
Yeah.
God damn, this guy can do that.
Stray with the lovely commentary. I love it. It's awesome. I'm also keeping an eye on the bottom right as well, considering we're also seeing Death Puff versus Andrew right now. So keep an eye on these. Stray's bumping ASAP, telling him to get a move on, but we'll have to see. Is he going to use the slipstream on the back straightaway to try to pass him in this last corner? Let's find out. You got only so many laps to do it, Stray. Might as well get it done now, as he does go on the inside line heading into this final corner. A little bit of a bump from Stray, but ASAP with the better momentum out of that corner, but goes a little bit wide. Does Stray have the side-by-side? No, he does not. ASAP with a beautiful defense telling him to go away after bumping Stray bumping ASAP a bit wide out of that last corner. But ASAP doing a great job defending that. ASAP Gamer, shout out to him. Been getting back into the racing scene again as Stray dives on the inside of ASAP. ASAP, can he do anything to do a switchback against Stray? Yes, he does. Great switchback from ASAP. Wow. What a switchback from ASAP to defend against Stray for 6th place. Great racing we're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm watching it. It's a great battle but for P6 right now. Would you see Matrix slowly catching up to Andrew and Death Puff? But I'm going to keep an eye on this battle right now for 6th place, considering ASAP pulled an amazing move on Stray, but Stray is looking on the inside. Is he going to try to make a move? Oh my god, he goes for it. Oh, okay, that was a bit aggressive, Stray. Let ASAP, there you go. Good racing etiquette right there. To be fair, Stray did also get a bit of oversteer with that, so there's that aspect. Looks like Andrew's actually starting to get a bit heated with Death Puff. I wonder if Death Puff is doing his aggressive strats. Actually, wait. Oh, that's KSAP. We do have some lap traffic playing into effect as Andrew passes Death Puff for 3rd position, but are they going to get past KSAP? Is KSAP going to do any defending? Nope. Looks like KSAP let them through. Death Puff's nudges Andrew a little bit. We got a bit of carnage with the last 2 laps. Got 2 battles going on between ASAP Gamer and Stray for 6th place, and we also got Death Puff and Andrew for 3rd place. Matrix is slowly trying to catch up to Death Puff and Andrew, but I'm not sure he'll have enough laps left to make this happen. But we're going to keep on with this battle right now between Stray and ASAP because they're literally glued to each other right now. I can put a blanket over these two with how close they are. Ooh, Stray with a little slap of oversteer. That was very close, Stray. Careful not to overextend your car, man. I know that fatigue's probably getting to you, man. That's an endurance race. ASAP goes a little bit wide. Stray goes on the inside line, heading into that corner, but nope. ASAP, with the momentum out of that corner, prevents Stray from getting past. This is a great battle to watch for 6th place. Oh, what happened to Death Puff?
Oh my god.
Death Puff losing a bit of ground over Andrew for 3rd place. I think Andrew might be getting 3rd in the bag, actually. You know, very hard charger reward I'd probably give it to Andrew, considering he's in 3rd place at the end of this. We don't know. We still have 2 laps to go. But we also got a battle between Death Puff and Matrix right now. I know these guys know each other pretty well, so we'll have to see how this battle unfolds. But right now, I'm going to keep an eye on Stray versus ASAP. ASAP Gamer doing a great job at defending against Stray. ASAP hits the curb and loses momentum out of the corner, but Stray runs right into the back of him, not able to really do anything considering that line he took into that corner. As we're heading almost to the penultimate lap of this race, as we're about to hit the outer mark of this race, the only endurance race we got in this whole calendar, but an absolute fantastic show that we've been seeing as ASAP goes side by side with Stray down the back straightaway. Does Stray have the momentum to try to get around ASAP, or is ASAP going to do a defensive work as we head into the final corner? Is there going to be a switchback from ASAP? Oh, nope. Great job from these two to keep it clean as best as they can. But great racing from these two. Is ASAP going to do anything to try to get 6th place back as we head into the penultimate lap of this race? Great battles so far, you know, great battles overall through this whole entire grid. I will give props to each and every driver as we do see a side-by-side moment between Matrix and Death Puff. Here we go. They're practically door-to-door right now, battling it out on the penultimate lap of this race here at Sebring International Raceway. We're going to keep an eye on this, but sir, okay, we're done with that POV. See what's going to happen with this. Death Puff versus Matrix. Death Puff goes on the inside, bumps Matrix out wide. What a move, I guess, from Death Puff. A bit too aggressive, in my opinion, when it comes to that. But we'll have to see. Maybe we're going to get some stewards involved at the end of this. But with that being said, actually, I'm going to get his POV back up. Boom. There we go. Going to watch Snowland take the final lap of this race. This has been the TPZ 86 Cup here at Sebring International Raceway. My name has been Alan Endope. I've been enjoying casting this for each and every person that watches this, whether you're watching it live, whether you're watching the race recap, whether you're watching the VOD afterwards. I hope you've been enjoying this fantastic race you've been witnessing. We all have been witnessing today. We've been seeing excellent battles. We've even been seeing battles to the final lap right now. We got Death Puff versus Matrix. Wait, Andrew missed a checkpoint? No. Andrew missed a checkpoint. He's down in 5th. So this is a battle for podium positioning between Death Puff and Matrix right now, as we get Snowland about to head into the last main straightaway to take victory at Sebring. But we're going to keep an eye on this right now between Death Puff and Matrix. That is upsetting to see Andrew miss a checkpoint this late into the race. Probably going to be absolutely gutted that he missed the checkpoint. That's the fatigue kicking in. We've been doing this for an hour and 2 minutes right now. But with that being said, Snowland Cross is going to round the final corner with Atomic in his way. But Snowland, after starting from the back of the pack, goes on to the start main straightaway to take victory for race 2 here at Sebring International Raceway. Great job. Absolutely fantastic job from Snowland to put a dominant performance against everyone else to hit the 59.809. Great job. But quickly, I'm actually gonna grab a screenshot of the. Actually, no, wait. We're gonna see this battle right now wage on between Death Puff and the Matrix. I think Matrix might not be able to get past Death Puff. No, he won't. Ah, dang. That sucks for Matrix after missing a few checkpoints, making those mistakes. But GG's, great job to each and every driver that race today. The curb bounce me wide. Yeah, Andrew, I saw that. That's very gutting, man. That's very, very gutting. Oh, I missed that. Oh, well. GG's, everyone, though. GG's to each and every driver that participated in this race today. I enjoyed watching it. It was a blast. I'm actually gonna get the screenshot of the final rankings right now. Where is it? Is anyone actually? Did anyone post it in the chat? I think so. There you go. Thanks, Death Puff. Shout out to Death Puff for getting the image. Pictures. Oh gosh. We're gonna get this screenshot. Boom. Replace it. Bam. Get this up and running. Bam. Get rid of that. Go back to OBS. Switch this over. Nope. Oh, wait. Switch this over to the screenshot. Bam. Okay. Bam. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final, maybe final standings. We have to see if there's going to be any sort of racing stewards or any penalties handed out, all that stuff. But yeah, great job from everyone. An absolute dominant performance from Snowland. Once again, after starting all the way from the back, he offered to be starting all the way from the back of the pack. But still an absolute great job from each and every driver in this whole entire field. Honorable mentions probably to Dark Moon. Dark Moon did a great job with staying in second after, getting away from the battling pack that was, Death Puff, Matrix, Andrew, and all them at the beginning of the race. Racer Dan, unfortunately, got disconnected, or, I don't know what happened to him, but maybe got DC'd out of the race after putting up a hell of a good fight against these drivers. Shout out to Stray and also ASAP for putting a great fight for P6 as well. It was entertaining to watch that.